Hey Marcus, I feel you, brother.
I got it on lock like Sony autofocus, stable like a rock, Olympus obvious. You better realize it's sharper than the Samsung NX1. Grab the Nikon Z6, snap some pics, 4K video incognito, cause baby I like it raw. I know you saw me with the Canon planning dual pixel on some tricks that I be trying to hit, get it? Ha ha, fooled you baby, never lose me. I love the color sign.
Hey, welcome nieces and nephews. What's going on? It's your boy OG Camera Boy. First off, I want to wish y'all a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year. Christmas done just passed, you know what I'm saying? I got my Santa Claus t-shirt on here, so I'm trying to keep it a little bit festive for the next little while. But anyways, we got a little bit of time left in this here holiday season, so I just want to wish everybody all the best, you know what I'm saying? A Merry Christmas and a Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa and Festivus and all of that, you know what I'm saying? So today, man, I just want to talk about something that I seen just recently. So I was watching MarkusPix I's video the other day, and I happened to notice that he started talking about something that's near and dear to my heart, man. And it sort of inspired me because a lot of what he was talking about has to do with why I even decided to start a YouTube channel to begin with, man. So Marcus was alluding and talking about the Samsung NX500, which is what I'm filming on right now, as a matter of fact, and what I've shown y'all in the intro right here. Now you could tell I got a couple of these cameras, and there's a good reason for that, man. So let me tell you something right off the start. I'm filming with this camera right now, the NX500, the Samsung NX500. This camera came out in like 2015, and I'm telling you, man, it's taken a long time for the camera industry and other manufacturers to even catch up to the technology that's in this here camera. Now, this camera's got a lot of things going for it, man. You got to keep in mind it's 6 years old at this point, and to consider that it's that old, it just has so much working right for it right now that I'm even using it till today, you know what I'm saying? So the Samsung NX500 was like the little brother to the NX1, and the NX1 is definitely a flagship beast of a camera, no doubt about it. If any of y'all had a chance to get your hands on an NX1, damn, I'm sure that you've been tripping over that camera then, for real, because I know how good the Samsung NX500 is, and I gotta get my hands on an NX1. You know, one day I will. I had a few that I kind of had slipped through my fingers, unfortunately, and never got a chance to get at the time. But hey, yo, Marcus, I did enter your contest that you had where you were giving away 10 cameras. I don't know what it was, a couple weeks back or whatever, and I put my entry in there for that Samsung NX1. Obviously, I ain't won it, but it's kind of a strange story because the guy who did win it just probably doesn't even live too far from me, because I'm down here in South Florida and the guy was from Miami. So yo, ain't that some shit? You know, the deals do happen now and then, but those cameras, especially this here NX500 and the NX1, they hold their value, man. It's crazy that you think about it, that they can sell for as much, or if not even more in some cases these days than they did back then. They hold their value so strong because people know how good these cameras are, man. So the NX500 and the NX1, they share the same sensor, and they have a lot of the same internals too. I think the autofocus systems do differ by a little bit, but the autofocus system, I could tell you on this here NX500, is a phase detect, and it's definitely real good, man. It's excellent. I mean, it's sharp, it keeps you in focus for the most part. The one thing that it does do, I have to say, I've seen this on Camera Conspiracies, man. He was talking about this one time with his NX1 that was actually, oddly enough, given to him by MarkusPix. He calls it hand autofocus, and Samsung, yeah, they do that. When you put your hand up there, they're gonna be latching onto it right away. So that's just one of those things that you gotta kind of be aware of and mindful of. I do talk with my hands, I tend to, but I'm trying to keep my hands down so I can keep it in focus at this moment. But otherwise, it does a real good job as far as the phase detect. It's nice and smooth, it's nice and quick, you feel me? And so it doesn't have any of that like hunting that you might find with other cameras of the era, or even some of the more recent ones like the Panasonics and all the rest of that. Another thing about this camera, besides the fact that it's got a gray sensor, which by the way is a BSI sensor, or a backside illuminated sensor, which means that it's going to have a little bit better performance in low light. It's got a lot of extra features on it, man, that you wouldn't even believe. I found the image that comes off of this camera so sharp. Like, there aren't any other cameras that I own personally that can even compare with it, even till today. And I own some recent cameras that just came out within the last year or so, and believe me, man, for some reason this camera just has an excellent, sharp, beautiful photo and video quality to it. Let me tell you something. And here's the thing about it, the camera doesn't have an anti-aliasing filter, and I think that's one of those things that was so smart to do at the time, because it really shows up in the image quality, in the net product of what it is that you're shooting or what it is that you're filming. Now check it out, I did some experimenting the other day. I wake up real early. I'm always up earlier before the sun, you know what I'm saying? So I get a chance to see beautiful sunrises here, and sometimes they take my breath away so much, man, that I gotta take a camera out and film it, man. So I've been taking out my Samsung NX500, putting it in 4K, and then filming those sunrises. Yo, check some of this footage out. What y'all think of this, man? It's crazy sharp. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I put this footage up on my 65-inch 4K TV, and I was like, whoa, man, that's crazy. I'm shooting a lot of this from my balcony, and I'm using long focal length lenses trying to get this type of imagery, you know what I'm saying? And Samsung just does so amazing as far as the image quality is concerned. It's just so sharp. I mean, it's incredible, incredible, incredible. It blew me away. I don't know if it's something that's going to translate onto the medium that you're watching on, especially if you watch it on something like a cell phone or whatever at the moment. But believe me, when I blew this up on a 65-inch 4K TV, it was unbelievable. I couldn't even believe what I was seeing, for real, man. It just shocked me how good it was. And I tried to measure that up against the 4K capabilities of some of my other cameras, and yo, it blew them away, man. It blew them away, for real. This is the sharpest camera I own by far, and I don't even know if there is a camera out there sharper than a Samsung. I think the Samsung image quality is the best in the business. It's just too bad that they out the business at this point in time. It does some quirky things too, man. I got that 45mm f1.8. That's a 2D 3D lens, so I flick a switch on that lens and suddenly I'm shooting 3D. Yo, check this out. Check this little box out, man. This is some 3D footage I took once upon a time, and I got a 3D TV still. It's just one of those things that's amazing to have, man. It's one of those things that's just become a rarity. You don't see that anymore, man. They don't sell 3D TVs anymore. It's just unbelievable. You know, this technology just went by the wayside, and that people don't pay attention to it anymore. But you know what? I could still do it because I have the mediums to be able to watch that. And it's a lot of fun, man, when you get yourself involved in going on vacation or something like that, or if you're at a family function and you want to take some of this 3D footage just to have it, man. It's incredible to watch that on the TV afterwards. It's like reliving the experience, man. It's just a lot of fun, you know what I mean? And like I mentioned before, this camera does do 4K. The 4K, unfortunately, on this camera is a 1.5 crop. Now, it shares the exact same sensor as the Samsung NX1, and on the Samsung NX1 it uses the full sensor to shoot the 4K, so there is no crop. But on the NX500 it uses the center pixels of the sensor, so there is that 1.5 times crop. But that can be advantageous in some instances, depending if you're somebody who likes to like maybe look at birds or some other kind of wildlife where you can't necessarily get up on them that quick. They're gonna get startled away and all that and run away from you, fly away from you. This is one of those things where it just extends your range a little bit. Now I'm trying to look at the bright side of it, and if I'm being honest, I wish it did film 4K with the full sensor. I would prefer that, but you know, that being said, it's still well worth it. Now I mentioned that 2.7K, which is what I'm filming in right now. And yo, you might be saying to yourself, well, how the hell is that, man? I ain't got 2.7K on my camera. Usually it's either 1080 or they jump straight to 4K. Well, how come this camera does 2.7K? Because Samsung was so smart, man. They let their software be more of a shareware where people were able to start programming certain things of their own to collaborate with the existing software. So there's a gentleman, I don't even know what his name is, but he come up with this here hack for this camera that I applied to both the one that I'm filming with right now and this one that I have in my hands. And this camera hack, you can apply this camera hack, by the way, to the NX1 as well. This camera hack has so many features, man, including the ability now for me to film in 2.7K, 30 frames and 60 frames per second. I mean, you heard something like this, man? This is crazy, man. Camera manufacturers will never give you that kind of leeway or latitude, you know what I'm saying? But Samsung did, man. I love Samsung so much, man. It kills me that they just not in the biz anymore, you know what I'm saying? And there's so many other features too that go along with the hack that guy wrote. For example, I bumped up the bit rates of this here. This bit rate that I put in there is 150 megabits per second, and that's just something that I programmed. I could have gone higher if I wanted to, but I figured that was plenty, man. I was gonna get great resolution out of it, so I'm filming at 150 megabits per second out of this here 6-year-old camera in 2.7K. And I also you can bump the bit rates on any resolution. Doesn't matter whether it's 4K, 1080p, 720. You can bump the bit rates on all of that, man. And you can just independently control that. So it's incredible. So I bumped the bit rates. I got 2.7K, and feel me on this one. Check this out. You know, there's only a certain amount of cameras out there right now that are available on the market that don't have recording limits. I think Sony's probably the only game in town that's starting to do away with that. Most other cameras have recording limits. This camera does not have a recording limit. Originally it did, but with the hack, Recording limit's gone, man, on everything. So basically I could just keep recording until the camera dies, or until I fill up the card, one or the other, man. That's what it's gonna be, because this camera does not have any recording limits. Another thing it's got on it now as a result of the hack, a silent shutter. I could turn the shutter sound off, boom, silent. 6 years old this camera is, man. 6 years old. You believe this? I can't believe it. It's incredible, man. It's just what I'm saying. When I talk about value, see, that's what I started my channel on, talking about value. This camera has so much value, it's ridiculous. And you know what? There was a point in time where there was like a lull in the prices. I don't think people really knew about it much, man. And I got a chance to pick a few up at a decent price, man. I paid about $320 on average for both of these cameras. I'm looking today, now I'm seeing the prices of the NX500 are jumping way over $500 on the used market, man. Marcus, I think he was saying in his video right now, he was showing that he just paid like $1,500 or something like that for a brand new one. The Samsung NX1 holds its value like a classic Ferrari, you know what I'm saying? It seems to be going up in value. It's crazy, man. I'd love to get my hands on one of those for real. Why didn't I win that contest? All right, it's no big deal. That happens from time to time. It's okay. You know, Samsung's just done everything so well, man. The menu systems on this camera are just incredible, man. The user friendliness of it, you know what I'm saying? Everything's just so well laid out. It's intuitive. It's Samsung, you know, they're heavy on the cell phone and smartphone tip, that their screens and the touch screen stuff, it just works, man. It works every time. It works perfectly. It's smooth. The interface is just incredible, man. It's fantastic. It's just, and the features that are on this camera, it's crazy that like Samsung was putting in features that I'm only getting with my more recent Nikons. You know what I'm saying? That I bought. I just bought the, well, actually I'm not going to tell you what I just bought because that's going to come up in a future video, but I bought a newer Nikon, and now finally that newer Nikon is starting to have certain features in it that this Samsung has. Speaking of Nikon, I think it was like 7 or 8 months back, something like that, I was watching Tony and Chelsea. They were on the armchairs talking about some kind of topic, whatever, but it come up, man, that they had a great idea. Now I'm going to give this credit for this idea to Chelsea, because I think she was the one who mentioned it, but she was saying that Samsung and Nikon should merge, or Samsung should buy Nikon. Can you imagine that, man? Oh my goodness, when she said that, I was like, damn, that's the greatest thing I think I ever heard, for real, man. If Samsung were to buy Nikon and they would put their technology into Nikon cameras, combining the technology of those two companies, oh man, game over, son. Game over. Game over, for real. You got the best camera right there, man. You got the perfect camera conspiracies, for real, man. You could stop your search, even though you think you did with A7S3, you didn't, you know what I'm saying? So you could find that perhaps in the future if Samsung and Nikon were to merge, or Samsung was to buy out Nikon or something. I just don't want to see Nikon die as well, man. I don't want to see Nikon go out of business or anything like that, because I love them so much. And obviously Samsung's out of the business, Olympus is pretty much out of the business, or going out of the business. I don't know what they doing. You know, Nikon, well, they struggling, there's no question about it, man. They hanging on, but I hope that they can pull through. But if Samsung and Nikon were to get it together, come on now, it's over, man. It's totally over, no doubt about it. That's just a great idea, Chelsea. I'm with you, girl. I think that was the smartest thing I ever heard, for real. All right, now check it out, man. I took the Samsung NX500 out just to do a quick vlogging test with it. And I'm not a big vlogger or anything like that. I'm not a vlogger at all, I'll tell you the truth. But I took it out there because I wanted y'all to see what the image quality looked like walking around during the day. Now, I have to admit, the first thing I did was a little bit of a cheat. You're going to see about it. And the second and third, well, they're going to reveal more about it. So let's check that out. All right, check it out, y'all. We're going to do a bit of a vlogging test for y'all today. I thought I'd take y'all to the beach with me. And I'm going to tell you right now, right off the jump, I'm cheating a little bit. I know y'all want to go see that stabilization, what that's going to be like. Now keep in mind, this NX500 doesn't have in-body image stabilization. It does have optical image stabilization on some of the lenses, and that works pretty well in my experience. Some better than others, but what I got it on right now is, I'm going to tell you straight, I got it on the gimbal. I put it on my little Crane M2. Easy to set up, took me no time at all. So I thought I'd show you the type of good kind of performance y'all can get out of it. Now I'm walking right into the sun, obviously, and it's a bit of a cloudy day, so it's not too bad, but the sun is out at the moment. I got it on aperture priority, and I got it on auto ISO, so I'm gonna let the camera decide. I set that aperture to the widest, 3.5. That's for this lens. I'm using the kit lens. This one here is the, let me see that, that's the 16-50. That's one of the kit lenses y'all can get with it. And I find the kit lens actually works real well, you know what I'm saying? So we can see right now how this look, man. Now I'm recording in 2.7K because I want that wide field of view, because this thing got a 1.5 crop or a 2x crop. I'm sorry if I
mistake that off, clarify that down just below me. And that 2x crop on the 4K make it real difficult with something like this. So I'm using that 2.7K, and I'll explain that a little bit later, so I get the full frame. And y'all can see, man, the quality of this here video come out of this camera is dope, man, sick. I've yet to find a camera new or otherwise that's as good, you know what I'm saying? So I'm walking into the sun right now, it's lighting up my face. I'm gonna turn around in a minute so we can put that light behind us and see what that look like, you know what I'm saying? See how well it does exposure. But y'all can see, man, autofocus is pretty dope, man. We got the phase detect on here, so we ain't got nothing to worry about when it comes to that. So let's turn it around. Now we got the sun behind us. We can see how well it compensates for the exposure. Now I got ND filters for this too. And I could set it on the manual tip, you know what I'm saying, with the ND filters, make sure I dial it in and everything like that. But not everybody has that, not everybody uses that. Maybe some other point I'll show you what it looks like with the ND filters. And I'm gonna take it off the gimbal too, so y'all can see what that in-body, or not in-body, but the optical image stabilization of the lens looks like. So, what do y'all think? Is it correcting for me all right? I hope I got the settings correct, you know what I'm saying, because I think I got it on face priority, so hopefully it's exposing for me. And if it ain't, that's cool too, because I don't always like it when it exposes for me and blows everything else out, man. I want to be able to see a little bit of what's in the background, you know what I'm saying? Obviously at 3.5 aperture, it's not the widest, so you're not going to get that crazy depth of field. But it's going to look good, you know what I mean? It's good enough for walking around town and vlogging and all that. So what y'all think? I'm going to take it off the gimbal right now, so we could see what it looks like just using the stabilization out of the lens. Okay then, it's off the gimbal. So we just relying on the stabilization from the lens, and I'm walking on some sand, so it's bumpy as a mother, you know what I'm saying? So it's definitely a good test to see how well or how badly it performs. I found that it's usually pretty good. Again, I'm walking into the sun right now, and again, I have to apologize, it's real windy out here today. So I got my external microphone here that I'm recording on a external voice recorder. That's how I'm capturing the audio. And this camera unfortunately doesn't have any mic input or anything like that. And so for show, man, the sound that's going to be coming out of the camera, I'll play for you right now, is going to be terrible, man. You know, hopefully even this little dead cat that I got on my own microphone is doing a decent job. But anyways, so y'all can see, man, this is what the stabilization looks like just using the lens stab instead of anything else. Like I said, it don't have no in-body stuff, so this type of thing you can expect to see. Now I'm gonna turn around, I'll let that light go behind me so y'all can see again what it exposes for and how well it does. I think it does pretty good in my opinion, so let's do that right now. All right, we turned around now. I'll try and get that sunshine right behind me too, see how well or how poorly it performs, you know what I'm saying? And I can tell you right now, man, it's windy, goddamn. I'll tell you right now that for real, the sun behind me is definitely pretty bright, so I'm pointing it right behind me on purpose just to make sure that y'all can see the extreme examples. And you know, with a camera like this, the image is just so good that I don't mind recording externally. I always do anyways. I very rarely use the preamps of the cameras as they are built in, so that's just one of those things, you know what I'm saying? So I'm putting this to an extreme test right now, believe me, because we got a high contrast situation. And I'll tell you right now, actually, I didn't put it on any flat profile or anything. I'm just using the standard color profile with a little bit of the contrast bump downwards. So this is more or less going to be straight out of camera. So y'all tell me, what do y'all think? All right, check it out, y'all. Yesterday when I came back, I looked at that footage from the beach. I was less than impressed, needless to say. And that's a lot of user error in that circumstance, because I was holding the camera real gingerly like at the end of a kind of a shitty old, you know, tripod that you can hand hold, whatever. So I thought I'd give it a different chance right now, walking on the pavement today, so you can see a better idea of what the optical image stabilization out of the lens looks like. Now again, it's not perfectly straight. I can see right now that the camera is wobbling a little bit in hand, but this is more of a representation of what the OIS is going to do for you out of this NX500, depending on what lens you be using. So I just wanted to give it another like couple seconds worth of what you could expect to see if you kind of vlogging with this camera walking up and down the road, you know what I'm saying? So this is more of an indication of that. Yesterday on the beach, I mean, that's just the most uneven surface, very difficult to walk on, and even in this circumstance, I mean, I can see my hand wobbling, so it's going to be a test. I'm not trying to be, you know, biased or whatever, so I just want to show y'all what the capacities are under different circumstances. So here we are, I'm walking in the shade and all that, so you can see too what it's like to walk in the shade under some trees and all that, because yesterday I was on the beach pretty much in the sun the whole time, just with the sun behind me. That's the whole shade I had, which wasn't any shade at all. So anyways, this is just a little extra something so y'all can see what it looked like.
All right, so I hope y'all like that. I hope you like that blog test. You got something out of it, you know what I'm saying? Listen, I just want to tell you a little something about myself, man. I don't need to do this, for real. Me and Marcus, we're alike in a certain respect in that we don't have to do this, you know what I'm saying? We've already established we're a little bit older now. I know I am. I'll speak for myself only, obviously. I'm a little older now. I've done what I had to do in most cases, you know what I'm saying? I'm living all right, everything's cool, you know what I mean? I'm happy with myself. But I'm like on YouTube right now talking about this tip because I love these cameras, man. I love them. It's just something that I really, really enjoy doing, you know. When I was younger, I used to love getting involved with the arts, and I would do sculpting and drawing and painting, but I was never really that good at it, you know what I mean? Nothing like Marcus, man. Marcus crazy, man. That dude, he can do some stuff I ain't even know about that, man. When I saw that video about who he was, I was like, whoa, man, what's up with this dude, man? This guy's some kind of genius or something, but for real. Anyways, I never had that level of talent, you know what I'm saying? And for me, it was always photography. Photography was one of those things that was the great equalizer, you know what I'm saying? So I could use the camera as my canvas to create art, and that's why I love these cameras so much. That's why I do this channel. That's why I like to talk about this medium. I love to talk about this technology because it's really something that I get a lot from, you know what I mean? Personally, it makes me very, very, very happy, for real, just to play and tinker around with these cameras, get that raw image, put it into an editing software, and just start to go at it, you know what I'm saying? That being said, as a photo camera, this NX500 is just incredible, man. It's just the detail. It's just such a good camera. I guess the one thing I wish it did have was an electronic viewfinder. It doesn't, and there are some instances where it's difficult to see the screen if the sun is right overhead at 12 o'clock or something like that. But I've never had a situation where I wasn't able to get the shot, you know what I mean? But yeah, an electronic viewfinder or a viewfinder at all would have been very handy. It's something nice to have, but it doesn't have that. That's the one, you know, con on this camera. Now, that being said, it takes incredible pictures. I took a couple snapshots when I was at the beach the other day, but I use this camera quite a bit for taking pictures. I use a lot of Samsung cameras. I mean, I love Samsung so much. I got so many of their cameras. You have no idea. I do have the Samsung NX Mini with the 17mm lens. I bought myself that. I got the 9-27, and I got 3 Samsung NX300s. I have the Samsung NX30 and 2 Samsung NX500s. And I have an array of Samsung lenses going from the 30mm f2 to 16mm 2.4, which I'm filming with right now. I have the 16-50 OIS lens, which is a kit lens. I also have the 18-55 kit lens, and I have the Rokinon 12mm f2 that I picked up as well. And I have the adapter for my Nikon lenses. So anything I have in my F series Nikon lenses, I can put on my Samsungs and they work just fine. And I don't mind the manual focusing thing. I know some people, you know, they get crazy about, oh, I gotta have my autofocus. That's okay, man. You could do that. And you know, if it's something that you got access to, bless your heart, man. More power to you. Go ahead and use it, you know what I'm saying? But for me personally, I don't mind the manual focus experience. I actually enjoy it sometimes. Using some of my older vintage lenses on this camera is just incredible, man. If you watch my first video, I adapted one of my older vintage lenses to one of my Nikons, my Nikon D5200. And sometimes you get really different looks out of those old vintage lenses, and they work really nice, you know what I'm saying? And they just do a real great job optically as far as like taking pictures and photography. And I got images up in my house. I print my own prints and I decorate my walls with some of my own pictures, you know what I'm saying? And to tell you the truth, just by coincidence, it's not even like that it kind of planned itself out that way or anything. it just so happens that the images that I print, I think about at least 90% of them have come from Samsung cameras. They just, I don't know why, just for some reason, I think because of the size of them, and I think this is why Markus loves it so much. The size of these cameras, the portability of them is just incredible. You know, I could always slip my NX300 or NX500 into my pocket or into my bag. It doesn't take up much space. And then when I'm out traveling or whatever, and I got a chance to see some incredible scenery, well, I always got a Samsung with me that I could just snap amazing pictures with, you know what I'm saying? And I never regret bringing it along, definitely, because it doesn't weigh much. I hardly feel that it's even there. And it's just a camera that takes amazing images, amazing video, that if any sort of situation were to arise, well, I got the perfect piece of equipment to start filming with. So anyways, Samsung, please come back. Please. I love you, Samsung. Stop making so many smartphones. I know that's a big market. You're done saturated that, man. You got to come back through the camera business again, you know what I'm saying? Hey, yo, call up Nikon. Do something about that, for real. Samsung, Nikon, I'm going to start this, man. I mean, it wasn't my idea, Chelsea. Brilliant. But I'm going to start pushing it, man. Samsung, get in touch with Nikon. You feel me? Come on now. Let's get it done, you know what I'm saying? Two of you get together, it's over, man. Game over. You take their market share, the two of you combine, boom, it's all kind of money here for everybody, man. You make everybody happy, for real. Especially me. All right, then. Yo, thanks very much for watching. You made it this far as usual. I appreciate you. Think about subscribing, giving it a thumbs up and all that bullshit. Otherwise, I'll see y'all next one. Peace.